Aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. These are the three settings that every photographer needs to fully understand. Doesn't matter what type of photography, doesn't matter if you're using an old camera, a new camera, a fancy camera, a cheap camera. These are the basics you must know. And today we are gonna explain those with a bottle. If you are new to the channel, I publish weekly content where I share everything I learned in more than 10 years working as a professional nature and wildlife photographer. So subscribe if you wanna see more. Let's think at photography exposure like filling up a bottle. We have to collect light, so the light will be the water that we're putting in the bottle, and to get to a correct exposure we need the bottle to be full. So the first thing we have to do is to open the bottle. I guess that would be like turning on the camera. Anyway, we can fill up the bottle very slowly with just a bit of water. Why is not focusing? Just a bit of water. This is like f11, f16, and if we go full speed, this will be f2.8 or f1.4. What does this mean? This is f1.8 and this is, what is this? f16. So f16, f1.8. The wider the aperture, the more light is coming in. The narrower the aperture, the less light is coming in. This also controls the depth of field that we have in our image. That means how much of our image will be in focus. With a wide aperture like this 1.8, I will have just my subject in focus and a very blurred background, while if I go down to a small aperture, also the background will be in focus. What is best to use? It depends on what we are doing. If we are shooting a landscape, we might want everything to be in focus and very sharp. So we might use a smaller aperture like f8, f11, f16. If we are shooting a portrait or wildlife, we want the subject to be separated from the background. So we might go for an aperture of f2.8, f2, f1.8, and this will create this nice separation, making the subject pop more in the image. Shutter speed is pretty easy to understand. It's the time we are allowed to drop water in our bottle. So, of course, the longer the time we have, the more water we can put in. The longer the shutter speed, the more light is coming to the sensor. But if we are shooting a moving subject, it also means that we are recording all the movement that is happening during our exposure. If we are shooting a fast moving subject, we might want to use a very fast shutter speed, like 1/2000th of a second or even faster. Even a fast moving subject will appear sharp and clear in our image. On the other hand, maybe we are shooting a landscape where we want the water to be blurred, or we want even to record some movement in the clouds. In these cases, we can go for very slow shutter speeds, and this will allow us to record the movement of the clouds over minutes. How does ISO relate to our bottle analogy? I think the best way to explain it is ISO would make the bottle smaller. In fact, ISO is not controlling the quantity of light that is hitting the sensor, but is affecting the sensibility of the sensor itself. With a smaller bottle, the bottle will fill up with less water, and with a more sensible sensor, we will get to a good exposure with less light. Unfortunately, this has a problem because the higher we go with the ISO, the worse the image will get, the more noisy and pixelated it will get. Here is where the camera can actually make a bit of a difference, because the better your camera, the more recent high-end camera you have, the better it will respond to higher ISO values, while a 10 years old entry-level camera will not perform that good. So if you are beginning in photography, learn these things, learn how aperture, shutter speed and ISO affect your exposure, but also the look of your image, so that when you see a scene, you can instantly understand, I want a wide aperture, I want a fast shutter speed or a slow shutter speed, and then I need this amount of ISO. So put your camera in manual mode, go out, take photos, experiment with these settings while you have full control of them. After that, you can go to aperture priority or shutter priority or put ISO in automatic mode, and you can still benefit from the camera taking some decisions while retaining full creative control over your photography. If you're just starting out, this might seem like something very complicated and overwhelming, but I can promise if you practice a bit, it will quickly become easy to understand and something that you just do. At that point, you can focus more on the composition or on the lighting, and your photography will start getting better and better quickly. Alright, I hope this has been useful. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these tutorials, and I'll see you in the next video.